Oh gosh. You know what, guys? I forgot to hit the go live. I've been talking all this time and you guys didn't hear me at all, right? Nobody's been able to hear me, correct? Can you hear me now? Did you guys see anything or should I start over? Okay, good. Okay, sorry guys. I forgot to hit the go live stream. Oh my goodness. Well, I at 1 minute before 8, I usually go live earlier, but I got a phone call. I was on a phone and I got distracted. That's what happens. You get distracted, you don't remember. Okay. So you were able to see me. Well, now you can see me. Okay. So let me go back to the beginning. Okay, I was showing you guys the windmill before. Okay. What happened was on Monday night or Monday at 5 o'clock, my automation starts. And yeah, well, you guys should have said something. I didn't know what Thomas you were talking about. And second of all, if you should have said, "Hey, we don't hear you," that would have been, I might have been able to get notice something. But that's okay, guys. No big deal. That's what happens. Things happen. So anyway, you can see the windmill working. But on Monday at 5 o'clock, the automation starts every night at 5 o'clock, and at 5 minute intervals, different things come on. And the windmill didn't come on. And I go, what the heck's going on? It was working for like 4 or 5 days, and after the video I posted, it worked. Wouldn't work. So I took it down, tested the motor. Motor wouldn't spin, so it died. So packed it up, went on Amazon. Now this was at 8 o'clock at night. By the time I got done testing and everything, and thank you, Chris. Yeah, and when when you're here, it looks slower. The camera makes it look like it's going fast, but it's really not going that fast. It's going nice and slow. You can see the blades. It's a 12-volt DC 3 RPM motor. That's what makes it go around. So I went on to Amazon, created the return for it, and then Tuesday morning I took all the returns that I had for Amazon back to the UPS store, and they shipped them out. And I got my credit like hours later for them. But on Monday night at 8 o'clock, I then looked again at the. I said I'm not going to get the same brand. If they died right away, I'm not going to buy the same ones. So I ordered different ones. And hello, James, welcome. And Todd and Dwight and Ronald. I was saying hello to you guys, and you didn't hear me, didn't know. And John from Schuylkill Valley, he was here and left. Bob was here, he was here and left. And I think I got everybody. So, and JD, Grandpa Rails. So, so I ordered a different brand, and when I was ordering it, I clicked on it, and it was next day delivery, but I missed it by 1 second, and then they weren't going to ship it until today. So I got it today, opened the bag up, And the one motor, you get a 12-inch long wire attached to the motor, so you don't have to solder onto the motor. That's good. I like that. And it has a connector on the end of it. So I cut the connectors off and I stripped the wires and I soldered to the wires that I have already run up there. And what happened was the one came and the black wire was broken off, and the other piece was there. It was just broken apart. I don't know what that was about. I had to test to make sure that motor works still. And then the other one, I cut off the end, put it on, turned on the windmill system, and it ran. I put the windmill on, glued it onto the thing, soldered the wires together, and connected it back up to the thing, and now it's working again. So um, we'll see how long these motors last. But it was really weird how that didn't go. So that's the windmill, and at least it's running now. So then down here, I was talking about I am Heath. Welcome. How did you get into Todd Armstrong's comment? Yours and Todd Armstrong comment are tied together somehow on my StreamYard. I don't know how that is. So anyway, I got all the utility poles wired up now. All the buildings to the utility poles are all wired up. And I was having a problem, and that's what I brought up this screen. Let me make myself bigger. This is a meters or electrical boxes, and then this is the conduit pipe that comes out of the box, and then at the top the power line comes in and it goes down through there, and you hook up the wires to the meter box. So to get the wires glued onto here was really a tough act to do. It was, because the wire is flexible and it's coiled, so it's, you put it on there and it goes off, and I had no way to hold it there. If I put alligator clips on there, I put the super glue on it, then the alligator clips are super glued to the wire and to the conduit, so I couldn't do that. And so I had the same problem with the string when I did it. The string was a little straighter, so it wasn't as hard, but it's still a pain in the neck. So then after a while, I said, let me see. So when I got to, when I got to this town here, these, that the police station and the fire building, firehouse, I lifted them up and took them off the layout, and then I laid them flat so that the conduit pipe was almost on the table. Then I put a little piece of filament block underneath it to lift it up just a little bit. Then I put the wire on top of that, and I super glued it. It stayed in place because I put a block, 1, 2, 3 block on top of the spool of the string, stretch string, that would hold it in place. Then I glued on there when it was glued tight, and I could pull on it. Then I would put the building back and take the stretch string up over the utility pole and glue it in its spot there. So that was a lot smarter, and it worked a lot easier. So I couldn't take the theater building off because that has that big billboard on top of it, and I didn't want to disconnect all that. So I struggled a little bit to get that. And then there's a couple of power lines that go across these tracks, and then they go into the yard and go across the yard. to get to the train station and that big building that's back by the train station. So I think it's like a hotel building or something like that. And so all the wiring is done on the first level, all the way around. I got all that done. It was easier once I got to this side because all the poles are lined up, so I could put the wire across 3 poles, and then at the other end, the spool, I would just turn it to make it tight so that it was tight on the wire, or on the poles, and then I would just put a dab of glue on each one. Once that dried, then I went to the next couple poles. So it went up faster on that side. The Murrayfield, which is the first part of my layout, poles are not in a line. It wasn't easy to go one to the next. They're different. And then the town, I added another pole in the town to make some of the wires from the houses not so long and stuff like that. So I did a lot of changes and stuff like that when I got the poles done. So, so what I've been doing is 3D printing a lot of stuff. And I showed you this, but you didn't hear me. But this is what I 3D printed this week. I've been 3D printing telephone poles. The resistors, I print them silver on the top, and then I print the pole brown. Now, the original telephone pole that I designed this had the transformer, and then these were on top. When I was printing these, they were all brown. Then I had to take them off. The supports around there made them come off, and the transformer doesn't come off. There's no supports to go around that. So then Barbara was painting them, and it was really tough to paint those little things. So I took them up on the Tinkercad, and I removed the transformer and these 3 off, and then I just printed the poles, and then I printed these silver, and the transformers I can glue them on with and that they're silver. The conduit with with the electric meter boxes is silver, and I printed them. I have like 15 buildings or something like that up on the 5th level, and I got to get the power lines to those buildings and stuff like that. And then these white things here are beehives, so I printed them. That's going to go up in the farm, so it'll be a beehive there. And so after my show tonight, I'll put these up on the 5th level. What I do is I take my Phillips. Hey, Ray Burleson, welcome. Thank you, Ronald and Chris, for your kind words. I take the like a Phillips screwdriver, and then I poke a hole in the foam. And then when I design the poles, I don't know if you're going to see this or not. Yeah, see, there you see it. See, you got a little tab on the end of the pole, and then that goes right in the hole. And what I do is I put some glue in the hole first, and then I slide the pole in there, and it won't go nowhere. So that's what I've been 3D printing. Matter of fact, a batch this finished. I heard it finish. I print 4 at a time now. The original design had all that stuff on it, and it was just putting too many supports around all those things, because this is what it looks like right there. So that's all supports around one of these things up here. So I just take my thumbnail and pull them off, and then I can pull that out of the center. It's not that hard. Yeah, I printed up holes. Yes, Dwight. These all are 3D printed. I use brown filament for the poles and silver for these things and silver for the transformers and silver for the meter boxes and the conduit. So 2 different colors. I have those colors in the A1 and I send them over to the A1 and stuff like that. The beehives, I printed on the mini printer in white. It's okay. So that's what I've been 3D printing. And so then this is where I think we went live and I was going to start another topic. I got a new track cleaning car. And the reason why is the track cleaning car I have is a Bachmann box car. And I put weight in it and everything, but that's too much. Welcome. That's the first time you've been in here. Appreciate it. Yeah, 3D printer, that's good. You'll love it. And again, hi, JD. It is a box car, has the plate on the bottom with a pad on it, and then I spray it with the CCC contact and I run it around the tracks. Well, on my subway system, I need to clean the tracks. That's why I haven't run the trains up there, because the train was hesitating in certain spots. So I said, time to clean the tracks. So I put that box car in front of the subway engine and I tried to run it around, and it kept on derailing and stuff like that. I don't know why. And so I said, I need to find a smaller footprint track cleaning car. So I did some research and stuff like that. Then I said, let me design one. And then I came up with this, but I couldn't figure out how to get that there or what material to use or whatever. So I found one, and that's this guy. So, and this guy is very heavy. And this is a 3D print, and it's very heavy, and it's a 36-footer. It has no decals on it. So this is black. So I just ordered some northern southern decals in white color off of eBay. Scale micro scale had them also, but you had to have a minimum of $20 order to buy. I only needed one sheet. You know, it was only $8 for the sheet, so I would have to buy a couple of other decals. I went, no, I don't need that. So I found the same decal on eBay, some guy, and he shipped it out today. It'll be here on Monday, so I can decal this guy up. But still, I got to test this. But since I was doing all the power line stuff, I didn't want to talk about. I have tools, you know, laying on the track and stuff like that because I'm working on these. Thanks, Spence. So this here goes into the slides into there, and then that rests on the track and it cleans it. So I'm going to spray this with something, or maybe dip this in the mineral ice or something. I don't know yet what I'm going to do. But this material is cotton twill tape. It's a 1 inch by 3 yards. You can get it at Hobby Lobby. And then This here is a 3D printed template, and you just put that on there and you make your lengths, and then you unscrew this top, and then this comes off, and then you put a new piece on there. So it's a pretty good idea. And the car is heavy. That's what I like. So this should go around. Well, the box car was hitting the fans, and I had to move all the fans around up on the subway system and everything like that. So, okay, Chris. Well, that track cleaning car from Bachman, it works great. Um, um, but it kept on hitting objects in the subway system, and it's like not very much taller than my subway cars, you know. And what was happening is I had fans on the conduit going around the subway system, and you guys seen that. Let me bring that back up here, and let me get out of that screen. You see the fans there, right? And down there. See, this one's not a problem because the track is far away from the wall. This corner, the track is close to the corner, and this fan was down to the top of this conduit here, and it hit it. So I had to also, the car with the camera on it was hitting the fans too. So I decided to move them up a little bit, get them out of the way, so that distance it clears now. So I had all them fans in different locations in the tunnel system, and I moved them. I moved them around so that the cars wouldn't hit them. So I tested it, and no cars hit it now. Matter of fact, I just put the flat car with the camera on it and just rolled it back and forth past the fan now, make sure it wouldn't hit when I go up there. Hey, Stormy, welcome, Steve. So that's my new track cleaning car, and this should go nicely on the in the subway system without worrying about hitting anything or whatever. And I like the weight in this. This thing weighs 5 ounces. For NRMA standards, a 36 footer only needs to be 3.5 ounces. So this is 1.5 ounces heavier than what it needs to be. So that's going to be good. So I'm going to try it. I got to go to Hobby Lobby and get some more of this cotton teal tape, and then I'll have it, and I can clean the tracks on a regular basis by just running this guy around. So I was close in my design when I was coming up with it, but this is only, I think this is like a 24 footer. So, and the wheels work, it rolls smooth and everything, but I couldn't figure this part out. I'm not really good on making corners and stuff on Tinkercad yet. So if I can replicate this to fit in there and use this tape, see, that's wide enough to go across the track. So I just need, this is a little bit bigger, and that's a little bit, no, mine is the same width as this car. So the hole, see, his hole and my hole, let me see, make it a little different here. This way. There you go. That way, that way. See, my hole has a lot more beef on the walls. His is thinner. So I would have to make it Thanks, James. Hit that like button. I'd have to make mine a little thinner because what I could do is then make one for each train and just have one coupler. I put a coupler on there and a coupler box I made and designed and mounted it on there. And I can just hook this to the end of the train and then it would clean the track, when the train runs all the time. So I don't know, but I'm going to see if I can replicate this because this here part that goes inside, it's threaded. I don't want to take it off because I don't want the cloth to come off, but that's threaded in. All this is 3D printed. So that's the new cleaning card. So I'll make mine and then I can make this a little longer. I was thinking about cutting out slots to add weights to this. This is like not even 2 ounces. And with the other part going in there, that might make it over 2.5 ounces or something. So I need another ounce. So I was going to kind of slot in there to add weights in there. I use those tire weights. So we need 8 more. Yeah, that's all. So that's another thing we're going to work on to get them done and stuff like that. So I don't know where you guys were today, but we even haven't. What printer did you use, James? I use all the stuff I print is on my A1, my Bamboo Labs A1 or my Bamboo Labs A1 Mini, and like both of them were going back and forth today. And on the Bamboo Labs, I have the app on my phone, and then I get alerted when the print job is finished. And then when you go on there, you can see Maker World, all the designs of people. That's where I saw the beehives. So I went on the app, I clicked on it, I selected which printer I wanted it to go to, which was the Mini this case, and I said print, and it downloaded it from my phone to the printer from the internet, right to the printer, and I didn't have to do anything in slice it or anything like that. It just started printing, and it printed the beehives for me. And I did that for something else the other day too. I forget what it was. Something else I printed from there. So, so it's real easy. Like I saw a dwarf signal on the Maker World, and I was going to download that file too because that looked interesting. It had 3 lights. It's what they use in Sweden. So I'm always going to sometimes have to replace a signal, and it has 3 lights in it, so they can be used as signal masts instead of dwarf signals, but they're short. Like a lot of the signals in my Helix are 3 LED dwarf signals, and instead of having masks on them, be too high, the trains would hit them and stuff like that around the corners. It's always going around the corner and stuff like that. So I didn't. Let me put back up there. So I didn't want to do that with this up there. Well, Tammy and Ray, welcome. Glad to see you in here. So I don't know about you guys, but it's been nice weather here in New Jersey the last couple of days. Matter of fact, over the weekend, um, I started weed whacking. I have I had weeds that were 4 to 5 feet tall, uh, in between the fences. I have my yard has a fence that goes all the way around. That's why I can let my dog out, not to worry about him going anywhere. And then the neighbors have their fences, and in between there's maybe uh, 1 foot of space, and 101 there. Yeah, no, it wasn't that hot here. So, uh, so my weed whacker, I bought that thing I told you guys about, but unfortunately, I can't get the. It's a Roby expanded weed whacker, and you can unclick, unlock the shaft, and push the button in. And then you can pull the bottom half, and then you can put another kind of attachment on it and do that. Well, I looked for that attachment, and sure enough, Home Depot had them, but they were out of stock, so I couldn't buy a new one to replace it. So I called up my two sons um, in their homes, and I said, "Hey, can I borrow your weed whackers?" Because they were going away for the holiday weekend. I said, "Yeah, okay." So I get my youngest son's, and he has the same type as I do, but his model is a little older than mine. So his is a different model, but the same 40-watt um, battery on the expanded. Well, I was using it, and I got most of the front of the house weed whacked, and then the string ran out. So I go, okay, let me change the string. So on the weed whackers, you have to push down and turn it, and then it comes off. Then you can feed the string through, you put it back on, and then you have a ratchet, and it ratchets the string in. Well, I took it off, feed the string through, and I put it back on, and I turned it, and the one end locked in place, but the other side did not. So now I'm trying to take it apart, trying to put it together. So his is sitting here in my office because I was watching a lot of YouTube videos on the same problem that people had with this type of weed whacker. So then my other son, he has a gas operated weed whacker, and he brought his over then, and then I got done. I got all the weed whacking done, and in between the fences, the weeds are turning into tree saplings. So they're like 1 to 2 inch diameter trees starting to grow. So I got to get them out of there because I don't want them there. And so the other neighbor on the other side, they don't do nothing about it. So I'm going to cut it down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Home Depot. They have the attachment for my weed whacker, a I don't know what the size of the blade is, but it's a chainsaw attachment. You put that on, and then I can cut up to 5 inch diameter branches and trees. So I'll be able to cut them all down. And then in my front yard, I got this really big tree, and some of the lower branches are coming down, and they're almost touching the ground now. So I want to cut them off and move them back. So I'm cutting the grass on the front. I got to push the branches away from me so I can get around it. It's getting to be a pain. So I got to cut them down. So I'm going to go get one of them this weekend and cut the branches off. So that was what I did this morning. It was nice out, beautiful weather. Only 10 nights. And you still get those? Oh, That's okay. You know, it doesn't take much to hit the button, but it's all right. Uh, I'm so many watch hours away from getting monetized. It's just like I really don't care anymore. I tried doing things to try to beef up my watch hours. Um, I just can't get it to do it. I mean, I IHC track cleaner, horn hook couplers. Zip. I I only had one car that had those kind of couplers on it. I yanked them off and put KD couplers. All my cars have KD couplers on it. Though, even like when I go to train shows and I buy, um, older cars, the $3 cars, $5 cars, they have those plastic knuckle coupler things. I yank them off and I put on KD couplers. Sometimes the KD couplers slip into the same spot that the other one's in, or I just body mount the coupler. I make a 3D print a coupler box and put it in it. I don't mess around. Yeah. So uh, that's what I do all the time. So yeah. So my oh, Bob, welcome back. Yeah. Well, Bob, what happened was I forgot to hit the live stream button on StreamYard. Thank you, Bob. Yeah, Barbara did all the graffiti on my panels in my subway system. She come over. She likes to draw. So what I did was I bought her a graffiti coloring book, and then on the panels, see, I have two different type of panels in my subway system. I have the clear resin ones, and what she could do with those is she could put them right on top of the coloring book and then trace the graffiti. And then she got good at doing this. And then we bought paint pens, and that's how she outlined uh, the graffiti stuff on there. And um, she then did tags and stuff like that. And then there's my somewhere in there in the subway system is my uh, model railroad name. I don't know what panel it's on. I can't find it. And I'm going to move it to where one of the cameras will be able to see it. I'll swap it out with another panel. And it's in there somewhere. And so, uh, and then like I got my kids' names on some of them, my grandkids' names, stuff like that. She put on there. She did real nice work. And and then I made some panels out of clear film. Um, yeah. Well, um, on your model railroad, Bob, no laws are broken here. So, and if you look at New York City subway system, that's where I got my ideas from. Thanks, Chris. And so it's like if I bring up that screen, you can see the graffiti on the walls here. Goes all the way down. I can move the cameras closer. There's a panel missing there. That's when the track um, wasn't clean. That's why I haven't run trains up there, because that track cleaning car I waited to get so I can run it up there. So um, tomorrow, I think I'm going to try to run that track cleaning car to clean the track on the subway system so that trains can run up there. Then I can videotape it with the video. I did a video of the train running around. Hey, Pedro, welcome. I did a video of the train running around, and it looked good, but it was hesitating a lot because the dirty track. So we'll see how that track cleaning car works. So, um, so anyway, that's the graffiti. It goes, it's all the way around, and then the um, the white, the clear filament that I was printing. It's not really clear, so I use them panels on the backside walls, which you can't look into anyway because the wall, it's against the back wall, stuff like that. So 40 years old. Wow. Yeah, I got the brass CMX car for cleaning too. That holds liquid. So I'm gonna try the mineral ice in there, see how that works. I use that in places um, to clean the track. So I have a couple of different cleaning cars, and I use whatever is appropriate. If you want to model the scene accurately after the 1960s invention of spray paint, you have to model graffiti, right? I took it apart. Looks like a CMX car inside. Yeah, yeah. CMX car is I don't know what it costs now, but it was I bought it. It was over $200 at the time, but it works really well. I got the pads, just cut it off and clamp it on, and then it cleans it. Bernard C, welcome. So no carb cleaner toes. No, it's so now you can see the men a lot better. Um, what I did was I put a white LED light up there on the tunnel top over top of the men so that that would light up that area so you'd be able to see it. Same thing with this view of the hobos over there. You can see them. And over here are the homeless people. And there's their fires going. There's some garbage there laying alongside the track and some garbage over there, stuff like that. So, yeah, so that's what's going on. So those new lights light up that area. And that's the second set of lights I got. The first pair, they were USB, and you could charge them, and then you turn them on, and they wouldn't go on and off like these two. So I sent them back, and then I got these from Amazon too. And these here, um, I bought this connecting wire. I showed you this on the last stream. It plugs in the USB, and then it has two wires, a red and a black wire, and then I connected that to a 12-volt bus line that I made for those lights. And so now they come on and off at nighttime with the rest of the scenes, stuff like that. So, oh, thank you, Spence. Yeah. Yeah, all they are a yellow and red um, flickering LEDs. Thank you, Bernard. Yeah, I think there's like 5 guys or 6 guys hobos up there. Couple sitting down by the fire. Over here, the homeless. You got a guy sitting down here. A couple people sitting down there. There's people laying down there. The guy sitting there next to the fire. So I had to do something in the subway system. It was the subway and the train. And I said, I remember riding the subway system, and I used to see homeless people in the tubes all the time. So, yeah, well, elevated would work too. Well, that's, Jim Tedesco has an elevated track on his layout. And I was looking at what used to be called the third level at one time. And I'm saying, I have a lot of room underneath that level. So I said, I'm going to put a subway system in there. And so then I started out with the Anycubic resin printer, and I was going to make these panels here, and the sides was all going to be one tunnel piece. And that was a 16-hour print. And I had no way of holding them up. I had two holes. I tried to drill holes through the resin, and it started cracking. And then one day I had them hanging up there. I got them up there, and then once they fell off, and it crashed onto the floor. So I said, gotta come up with a better way. So all the floors are made out of clear filament, and I printed them all on my Viper before that died. And, they're 9-inch sections, and then the panels on the side are clear resin. They're 9-inch sections. Then I designed a bracket to screw onto the underneath the plywood. Hey, Papa John's, welcome. And I screwed that up there, and then the other tab would hold the base up. So one on each side holds the base up, and then the other side, and then it was wide enough for two floor panels to come up and butt against each other, and so they won't fall down. So they're all in place. Then to get the tunnel tops on, I had to come up with this bracket that's on top of the walls, so that tunnel piece could slide into that. Because what was happening was the tunnel piece was sliding off all the time and falling down and everything, and whatever. So right here, right by the homeless, you'll see this bracket here. That's from my scrap yard. It's just holding up the tunnel piece because I have the wall out right now. Because I was working on this corner and getting these homeless people in place and everything. And the train was stopping here somewhere. I tried to clean it to get it to work and stuff like that. Oh, and also I had to move the fans. The fans I had to move up a little bit. So if I move the camera up, now you can see the fan move. So see, that was on this panel here, right here. So, or was it on this panel? One of the two panels. It hit the train coming around the corner, hit the fan. So, like the shit hits the fan. Well, that's what happened. So I moved it up higher into the tunnel. So that's what happened. So tomorrow, my plan is to run the two subway trains with the cleaning car on it. And once it goes around clean, I was running the train around real fast, and the announcement, I have the announcements working up on the subway system. So when a train arrives, it says what train it is, what it's arriving on, what track it is, and all that stuff. And I recorded all those recordings and put them on that device, and that's my voice doing the recording, in the recordings. And so I got a deep voice. It came out pretty good. So, and so what happened is, the train was running around, and it was tripping the announcements and dispatching and all that stuff all the time over and over again. So what I'm gonna do is unplug them, and while I'm doing the track cleaning, so it doesn't continue to try to make the announcements over and over again. Then I'll plug them back in, and I got two places I can do that. I can either do it down where it is plugged into the power supply, because that's one of those 2-wire connectors that click onto the barrel to a 12-volt power adapter, and then I can just unplug that there, and then the power won't be on, and because that it automatically comes on when I turn the subway system lights on. That's all on the same system. When I tell Alexa, subway system on, the lights come on and the announcement things come on. No, I'm sorry. When I turn the trains on to run, that's plugged into the same power supply as the NCE system is. I have a power adapter there with a couple plugs into it, and it comes up today. Yeah, MTA, yes. Yeah, two. Yeah, they're both MTA trains. I got them from Train World. They're MTH engines, and I converted the MTH engines over to soundtrack decoders because I'm doing when did hobos stop being a social phenomenon after the end of the Depression? I don't know. That's a good question, Bob. I mean, I saw when I rode the subways. I rode the subways for 3 years in Manhattan, and I was on every subway train except for the G train. Been on every other one at all different times of the day. And when you're going through the tunnels, you can see people in the tunnels, and they're not workers. So I don't know. Most of them are probably homeless people that live down there. I don't know if they're hobos anymore. And maybe, Bob, when they started cracking down on people getting on the trains, when we were young kids, we used to jump on the trains. So I lived near the tracks, and we would jump on the train and ride it into the next town, and then call up my mom or dad to come pick us up. They would come down and get us, and or the other kid's mom and dad would come pick us up. It all depends on who was home at the time. So there are still people riding freights, but it's not as means of transport to find work. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I just remember what I seen on the subway system. So that's what I tried to replicate here. I saw the exhaust fans in there. I saw the conduit on the walls in there. I saw the graffiti in there. That's what I tried to model it after, what I remember from when I rode the subway trains. So, and my stations are named after the Manhattan stations. I got 34th Street, I got 42nd Street, and then the next stop after 42nd Street is 47th and 50th Street exit station. So those are the 3 stations that I have on my layout. Oh, really? Didn't see any of that. Well, I'm not a fan of illegal stuff to begin with. But back in the day when we were kids, people, we used to jump on a box car when the door was open as the train was going by. And the trains where we were going by, they were going like 5 miles an hour. So it wasn't hard to run along and jump on the train. It wasn't like it was doing 50, 60 miles an hour. They can't do that through the town. That was they had to go slow speeds through our town. And then when we moved, when I was a kid, the tracks was just up the road from it was closer, and that was going across the bridge, and they had to go slow over that so we could jump up on there too and get on if we wanted to. So we always had fun when we were kids. Kids today don't want to do nothing. Just thinking it would be cool to model a modern freeloader riding one of the trains. No, I shouldn't. Yeah. Yeah. Well, who has it? Somebody. I think it's James. Doesn't he have Artie and the kangaroos on one of his box cars? I think I saw that. So he's a freeloader riding on James's train, right? I have one train where I have a worker glued onto the box car, and he's riding around. Yeah, that's right, Bernard. That's what we used to do. We used to ride it to the next town, and the town that I lived in, the other town was across the river. So the train ran across the river, a bridge across the river, and then we would jump off there and go into that town. That town had a movie theater. That's when movies were only a nickel. And we used to go to the movie theater, and then there was a hobby shop right up from the movie theater. We used to go in there. That's when you could buy hobbies for less than 50 cents. So I think some of my first model trains that I bought at the hobby shop were less than $1 that back then. So that one engine that I converted, well, that I wanted to convert, Jason, the train freak, he converted it for me to Soundtrax encoder. It had 2 motors in it. That's from the 1970s. So, and it runs good now. Yeah, Artie's on Joe Rader's boxcar, right? Yeah. So, yeah, so we see those things, right? And so hopefully I'll have a video. I have another video coming out tomorrow on some of the things I 3D printed. Some of the things I didn't show you because I wanted to didn't want to give away that video. So yeah, late 70s, right? Here too, because when we used to in the 70s for sure, because when we used to, my dad worked at a chemical company in the town that I live in, and the railroad tracks went right past the company. So there was always tracks there. Matter of fact, there was a big derailment there one time. The train hit a sidecar that was parked there, and it ripped the box car wide open, and it had all kinds of snacks in it. So we were there grabbing all the snacks and everything before everybody cleaned up the mess. So we had a lot of free snacks, stuff like that. But there was always guys walking along the tracks trying to get a ride and stuff like that. So I guess they were hobos. So, and that was in the 70s, even up to the 80s, I think. Because after I got married, I would go down. I used to work where my dad worked as a security guard, and I always see guys along the tracks waiting to jump on a car or something like that. So as a security guard, I didn't care. That was a railroad's property, not the company that I was patrolling property. And my dad worked there for 60 years at that same company. Back then, he worked for that company. I think he started right out of high school. Then he served in the Navy for 4 years. Then he came back and he went back to work for the same company. And he was given credit for his 4 years in the Navy as 4 years of working there. So he had 5 years. The year he worked there right out of high school, and then when he went into the Navy. So that was pretty cool that the company did that. And so he had 60 years there. And so uh, I don't know, did you guys hear about my grass cutting experience? It was such a beautiful, I don't know when I started the live stream, so I don't want to repeat anything, but I talked about cutting my grass, that I have weeds, yang high, and my weed whacker died. My son brought over his weed whacker, ran out of string, then his is in a dormant state, and my other son brought over his is gas one, and that worked. So yeah, well, that's right, Bernard. Yeah, we had a couple of derailments in my area. I always go and check them out. It was interesting to see how they cleaned it up and everything. Luckily, nobody was killed in those derailments. But what are you going to do? So, well, guys, it's been an hour and a half, but only an hour. I want to thank everybody for coming in. And again, I want to apologize for not going live right away. I forgot that button. And they should change StreamYard so that when you add your stuff to the stream, it should automatically pop up the window. Do you want to go live now? That would be better. That would make a lot more sense. Maybe I'll send an email to StreamYard, see if they can add that feature. Like I don't bring myself up until I'm ready to go live. So anyway, again, thanks everybody for stopping in. I appreciate it. And we'll everybody enjoy the rest of your week. Hope it's nice weather for you as it is here in New Jersey. And we'll see you all in the next video. Everybody take care. And again, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it, everyone. Have a good night. Take care.